Hey, good evening. It's Thursday, September 12th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. The video tonight is about hummingbirds. If you see the title there, The Hummingbirds Are Gone. No, it's not the opening of some scary movie or climate change or whatever. Hummingbirds are the way I tell the seasons. When here in South Carolina we basically have two. We have a very mild winter most of the time. Sometimes it's cold. And then we have a summer. And they kind of run right into each other. So when the hummingbirds come back in the spring, I know that spring and summer are on the way. When the hummingbirds leave, as they just have now where I live, they may be around some places in the area, but I know that fall and winter are coming. And I've been noticing that ever since we moved to South Carolina, now over 30 years ago. It's pretty momentous to me. I just love thinking about that. The hummingbirds, they tell me when things are about ready to change. And I'm fascinated by these little guys. You'll see the image on the screen right now of this hummingbird. And they're about 3 inches long. This is the ruby-throated hummingbird. They weigh less than a quarter of an ounce. A quarter of an ounce. That's amazing. In this next image I'm going to show you, you can see their wings. And this camera exposure is 1/2000th of a second. And their wings beat it roughly anywhere from 60 to 75 beats per second. And they're these tiny little creatures that God cares for. But here's the amazing thing. The hummingbirds are gone. Where do they go? Well, many of these ruby-throated hummingbirds, which are mostly in the east coast of the United States, many of them will migrate to Mexico. Some will fly along the coast, and I'm going to put another image up on the screen for you showing where they migrate from. But many will fly all night from the coast of Florida down to the dark area that you see there, the Yucatan Peninsula, non-stop. That's mind-blowing to me. Normally, these birds have to be feeding every 15 minutes. But God prepares them for this long flight. They load up on food, and they can fly 500-600 more miles at one time without stopping across the Gulf of Mexico, from Florida down to the Yucatan Peninsula. That is amazing to me. This is not random evolutionary patterns or happenstance. This is how God designed these hummingbirds to work. And if he does it with this one species of this one particular group of hummingbirds, these little tiny creatures weighing less than a quarter of an ounce, he's doing this for all of his creation. Listen to what Psalm 104 says. You make springs pour into the ravines, so streams gush down from the mountains. They provide water for all the animals and the wild donkeys in their thirst. The birds nest beside the streams and sing among the branches of the trees. You send rain on the mountains from your heavenly home, and you fill the earth with the fruit of your labor. You cause grass to grow for the livestock and plants for people to use. You see how involved God is in the caring for his people. Jesus tells us that not one sparrow falls to the ground without God knowing about it. And these little hummingbirds, they're another example of God's control, of God's care for this planet. And these tiny creatures, which give order to my life in some kind of crazy way, it tells you what's the problem with me. But these little creatures that bring order to me every year, they announce spring to me, they announce fall to me. It's just an example of God's care. So some of the hummingbirds I've seen here now are likely heading to the Gulf of Mexico and flying across. And they fly at night. It's just amazing. This is the way that God is involved. And brothers and sisters, if he is involved to that degree with hummingbirds, this is what Jesus is trying to tell us in the Sermon on the Mount. If he's involved to that degree with hummingbirds, how much more is he involved with you and me? This gives powerful meaning to Ephesians 2:10. You and I are God's workmanship, literally, in the Greek, poema. You can say God's work of art in progress. You and I are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which he has prepared in advance for us to do. Just as he prepares for these routes for the hummingbirds, and they don't go the same way all the time. It's just amazing. Just as he's cared for them, he's prepared things for you and me to do every day to bring honor to Christ, to live out the glory of God. The glory of God simply means that we make it our passion to add to the reputation of God in everything that we do, so that people notice his wonder and awe. Hummingbirds, they're gone. But Lord willing, they'll come back. And they bring peace to my life. If we just open our eyes and look and see the things God is doing around us, it really is, we can have peace no matter how crazy the world seems to get. Because God cares for hummingbirds. He cares for us. And that's the thought for this night. And, Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. You have a great evening. Thank you for being here. Good night.